The gavel slammed down like a thunderclap in Michael's chest, echoing through the sterile courtroom where the air hung heavy with the scent of polished wood and stale coffee. "Guilty," the judge intoned, his voice a flat blade slicing through the fragile hope Michael had clung to for months. In that instant, as handcuffs clicked shut around his lover's wrists, Daniel's eyes met his raw, unyielding, whispering a silent vow that shattered Michael's world into a million jagged pieces. Michael Harper had always believed in second chances, the kind that bloomed in the cracked sidewalks of suburban Chicago, where dreams took root amid the rustle of oak leaves and the distant hum of the L train. At 32, he was a high school English teacher with a penchant for quoting Whitman to bored teenagers, his days filled with chalk dust and the quiet thrill of shaping young minds. His apartment in Oak Ridge Heights, a tidy HOA-governed enclave on the city's edge, was a sanctuary of exposed brick walls lined with dog-eared paperbacks and framed photos of road trips through the Smoky Mountains. But it was Daniel who made it home. Daniel Ruiz, the 35-year-old architect whose sketches turned blueprints into poetry, whose laugh could coax sunlight from the gloomiest afternoons. They'd met 3 years ago at a community art fair in Lincoln Park, Michael nursing a lukewarm IPA while Daniel unveiled a model of a sustainable housing project that looked like it could hug the earth. "It's not just walls," Daniel had said, his dark eyes sparkling under the string lights. "It's a story waiting to be told." Michael, ever the romantic, had fallen for that line harder than for the man behind it. Their first kiss happened under a canopy of fireworks on the 4th of July, sparks mirroring the ones igniting in Michael's veins. What started as stolen weekends evolved into shared leases, merged Netflix queues, and whispered promises exchanged in the hush of midnight. Oak Ridge Heights was the picture of Midwestern normalcy. Manicured lawns, colonial revivals with wraparound porches, and block parties where apple pie competed with gossip for center stage. But beneath the picket fences lurked a current of judgment, especially for two men who dared to hold hands at the annual summer barbecue. The HOA, presided over by Evelyn Karen Whitaker, a peroxide blonde busybody in her late 50s with a smile sharp as a switchblade, enforced rules with the zeal of a televangelist. No flags higher than 6 feet. No unapproved paint colors. And certainly no disruptive lifestyles that might lower property values. It began subtly. A passive-aggressive note taped to their mailbox. "Please keep personal matters indoors." For the good of the neighborhood. Michael chuckled it off over breakfast tacos, Daniel's specialty, but the knot in his stomach tightened when their recycling bin was mysteriously overturned. Rainbow stickers peeled off their Prius like shed skin. "Small minds in big houses," Daniel muttered, pulling Michael close on their threadbare couch, his fingers tracing lazy circles on Michael's back. In those moments, the world narrowed to the steady rhythm of Daniel's heartbeat, a reminder that love wasn't a battlefield, it was a refuge. The hook that snagged them deeper came on a crisp October evening, leaves carpeting the cul-de-sac like spilled confetti. Michael was grading essays at the kitchen table, the window fogged from Daniel's simmering chili, when the doorbell chimed, an insistent buzz that cut through the jazz crooning from their vintage record player. Daniel wiped his hands on a dish towel and opened the door to find Evelyn standing there, clipboard in hand, flanked by 2 burly HOA enforcers who looked like they'd been recruited from a discount wrestling league. "Mr. Ruiz," she said, her voice honeyed venom, "we've received complaints about structural violations on your property. As acting city inspector for this quadrant, I'm here to conduct a formal assessment." Her eyes flicked past him to Michael, who rose slowly, a chill slithering down his spine. "Acting inspector?" Oak Ridge's bylaws allowed HOA reps limited authority, but this felt off, like a wolf in Grandma's cardigan. Daniel, ever the diplomat, stepped aside. Of course, Ms. Whitaker. Come in. But as Evelyn strode through their living room, her heels clicking like accusatory fingers, she zeroed in on the bookshelf crammed with queer literature, James Baldwin's essays rubbing spines with Audre Lorde. Interesting collection, she sniffed, jotting notes with a flourish. Though I must say, such displays could be seen as provocative. And that mural in the backyard? Unauthorized public art. It promotes division. The mural was Daniel's masterpiece. A vibrant fresco of intertwined vines forming two silhouetted figures reaching for the same star, painted during Pride Month as a quiet act of defiance. Michael's heart swelled with pride every time he glanced at it, but Evelyn's gaze turned it into a crime scene. She measured door frames with theatrical precision, her flashlight beam probing corners like a detective on a vice raid. Code violations everywhere, she declared, slapping a yellow citation on their coffee table. You'll need to remove the mural by week's end, or face fines. And perhaps relocation. Michael's fists clenched under the table. This is our home, he said, voice steady despite the tremor. We've followed every rule. Evelyn's smile didn't reach her eyes. Rules change, Mr. Harper. For the harmony of Oak Ridge. As she swept out, the door's slam reverberated like a warning shot. That night, tangled in sheets scented with lavender and regret, Daniel held Michael tighter than usual. She's bluffing, he murmured into Michael's hair, but doubt laced his words like bitter aftertaste. Michael pressed a kiss to Daniel's collarbone, tasting salt and resolve. Then we'll fight it. Together, in the darkness, their bodies aligned like puzzle pieces, a silent pact forged against the gathering storm. Little did they know, Evelyn's charade was just the opening act in a drama that would test the very foundations of their love. The days blurred into a siege. Evelyn's inspections became weekly rituals, popping up unannounced to scrutinize their compost bin or interrogate the mailman about suspicious packages. Whispers rippled through the neighborhood. Those two are trouble, dragging down values. At the grocery store, Mrs. Hargrove from down the block averted her eyes. Her cart swerving like Michael's presence was contagious. Daniel threw himself into work, drafting eco-friendly designs for a Chicago high-rise, but his sketches grew angular, frustration bleeding onto the page. Michael sought solace in his classroom, where 17-year-olds devoured The Great Gatsby with the innocence of unscarred hearts. What does it mean to chase a green light? He asked one afternoon, his voice cracking on the edge of metaphor. The student, Jamie, a lanky kid with a fade haircut and a hidden rainbow pin, raised his hand. It's loving someone society says you can't, right? Like fighting for your dream even if it's across a bay of haters. Michael's throat tightened. After class, he pulled Jamie aside. You get it more than you know, kid. In that exchange, a flicker of mentorship ignited, a reminder that ripples of kindness could counter waves of cruelty. But Evelyn escalated. One rainy Tuesday, she arrived with a posse, the HOA board, clipboards at the ready, demanding entry under emergency protocol. Daniel barred the door, rain plastering his shirt to his chest. This is harassment, he growled. Evelyn thrust a forged document, embossed with a city seal that looked suspiciously photocopied. Per Municipal Code 47B, I'm empowered to enforce compliance. Step aside, or I'll have you cited for obstruction. Michael watched from the hallway, pulse thundering. The document was a farce, but challenging it meant lawyers, fees they couldn't afford on a teacher's salary and freelance gigs. Let them in, he whispered to Daniel, hating the defeat in his own voice. As the group tromped through, Evelyn's finger jabbed at the mural like a bayonet. Obscene. Demoralizing to families. One board member, a paunchy retiree named Chet, nodded vigorously, but his eyes darted away. Guilt, perhaps, or complicity. They issued an ultimatum. Dismantle the mural, host no more unfamily-friendly gatherings, and submit to quarterly lifestyle audits. Daniel's face paled. Audits? What the hell does that even mean? Evelyn's laugh tinkled like breaking glass. Ensuring alignment with community standards. Dear, we wouldn't want misunderstandings. Alone again, the weight crushed them. Daniel paced, fists balled. This isn't about paint or bins. It's us. They want us gone. Michael pulled him down onto the rug, their foreheads touching. Then we stay louder. Plant roots deeper. They made love then, not with urgency, but with the slow reverence of survivors. Hands mapping familiar terrain, breaths sinking like a shared prayer. Afterward, Daniel traced the scar on Michael's rib from a childhood bike crash. You're my anchor, he said softly. Michael smiled, but sleep evaded him, Evelyn's shadow looming like fog over Lake Michigan. Whispers turned to shouts when the first anonymous letter arrived, slipped under their door like a serpent's tongue. Leave before you corrupt our children, it read, typed in block letters, postmarked from Oak Ridge. Michael's hands shook as he read it aloud, the words landing like punches to the gut. Daniel crumpled it, hurling it into the trash. Cowards, he spat, but his eyes betrayed fear, the kind that gnaws at foundations. They reported it to the police, a squat precinct on the edge of town where Officer Ramirez, a stocky woman with a no-nonsense braid, took notes with sympathetic nods. Hate mails a dime a dozen around here, she said, sliding them a pamphlet on resources for LGBTQ+ families. But we'll patrol. Hang in there. Her kindness was a balm, fleeting as morning mist. Back home, Michael tacked the pamphlet to the fridge, a talisman against the encroaching dark. Evelyn, sensing vulnerability, pounced. She cornered Michael at the community mailbox cluster one drizzly dawn, her umbrella a pink shield against the elements. Trouble sleeping? She cooed, eyeing the shadows under his eyes. Perhaps it's the stress of fitting in. Michael gripped his mail, knuckles white. Or maybe it's busybodies playing dress-up as officials. Her smile faltered, just a twitch, before sharpening. Careful, Mr. Harper. Words have consequences in polite society. The betrayal stung deepest when it came from within. Their neighbor, Tom, a gruff Vietnam vet with a soft spot for Daniel's grilled ribs, avoided their backyard fence. One evening, as Michael raked leaves, Tom muttered from his porch, "Heard about the letters. Evelyn says it's for the kids' sake." Michael's rake paused mid-sweep. "And you believe her?" Tom shifted, boots scuffing the deck. "Look, Mike, I like you boys. But times are changing too fast. Folks talk." The fence between them felt miles wide, a chasm carved by conformity. Daniel channeled the rage into action. He joined a local advocacy group, Out Alliance Chicago, attending meetings in a converted warehouse downtown where rainbow flags fluttered like defiant banners. There, amid folding chairs and styrofoam coffee cups, he met Lena, a fierce paralegal with tattoos snaking up her arms, who shared war stories of HOA horrors. "Sue the bastards," she urged, sliding him a business card. "Pro bono if you qualify." Daniel's hope flickered, pilot light against the gale. Michael, meanwhile, wove the turmoil into his lessons. During a unit on The Crucible, he let the class debate Miller's witches, metaphor for McCarthyism or timeless mob mentality. Jamie spoke up again, voice gaining steel. "It's like now people scared of different, so they burn it down." The room hushed, then erupted in nods. After bell, Jamie lingered. "Mister, you okay? You look haunted." Michael ruffled his hair. "Just teaching the ghosts how to dance, kid." Their sanctuary cracked further when Evelyn's next inspection unearthed a phantom violation. Unsafe electrical wiring in the garage. It was nonsense, their home was up to code. Inspected just last spring, but she wielded her forged badge like Excalibur. Daniel confronted her in the HOA office, a beige bunker smelling of printer toner and entitlement. "You're no inspector," he accused, voice low thunder. Evelyn leaned back in her swivel chair, legs crossed. "Prove it. Until then, comply or lose everything." The fines piled up, $500 here, $200 there, draining their joint savings like a slow leak. Nights blurred into arguments, not vicious but weary. Michael advocating caution, Daniel firebrand resistance. "We can't afford to fight," Michael pleaded one stormy evening, thunder rattling the windows. Daniel whirled from the sink, suds dripping from his elbows. "And we can't afford to fold. This is bigger than us, it's about who gets to belong." The words hung, heavy as the rain, until Michael crossed the kitchen, cupping Daniel's face. "You're right. Fight with me." Daniel's nod was a lifeline, their kiss sealing the alliance anew. But the real fracture came at the annual HOA Halloween potluck, a spectacle of plastic pumpkins and forced cheer. They arrived arm in arm, Michael in a thrift store Gatsby Searucker suit, Daniel as a dapper vampire with fake fangs glinting. Whispers parted like the Red Sea as they filled plates with deviled eggs and cobweb cupcakes. Evelyn, dressed as a pilgrim with a feathered headdress that screamed cultural insensitivity, sidled up, punch ladle in hand. "Charming costumes," she said, ladling too generously into Michael's cup, the liquid sloshing crimson. Though one might say, theatrical. The evening unraveled when Chet, 3 beers deep, cornered Daniel by the dessert table. "Evelyn tells me you're planning some protest mural expansion." "Lies. All of it." But Chet's slurred solidarity masked venom. "Keep it civil, son. We don't want trouble." Daniel's fangs bit his lip to stifle retort. Michael, overhearing, felt the ground tilt. Later, under the harvest moon, they walked home in silence, costumes shedding like illusions. In bed, vulnerability spilled. "I thought we were building something unbreakable," Daniel confessed, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin. Michael rolled toward him, hands splayed over Daniel's heart. "We are. Bricks and mortar crack. But this," he pressed closer, their pulses sinking. "This is rebar." Dawn crept in, painting their room gold, and for a stolen hour, the world outside dissolved. Evelyn's web tightened with a subpoena, official-looking stationery demanding Daniel's architectural licenses for fraudulent endorsements on the mural. It was baseless, but the implication scorched. Impersonation cut both ways. Daniel's firm placed him on leave, pending investigation, his inbox flooding with cautious emails from colleagues. Tread lightly, one read. Isolation clawed at him, but Michael's unwavering presence, packing lunches, leaving sticky notes with Dylan Thomas quotes, held the line. They turned to allies. Lena reviewed the papers over takeout Thai in her cluttered apartment, chopsticks pausing midair. This Inspector crap? Classic overreach. But that seal, she squinted. Bootleg City Hall vibes. Dig deeper. Armed with her intel, Daniel filed a countercomplaint with the real Chicago Building Department. A labyrinth of voicemails and hold music. Hope was a thin thread, fraying but unbroken. Winter whispered in on November's heels, blanketing Oak Ridge in frost that mirrored the chill in Michael's veins. Jamie's midterm essay arrived like a beacon. Love as defiance. Lessons from Gatsby and my teacher. Tears blurred the ink as Michael read. Pride swelling fierce. He invited Jamie for coffee after school, sharing stories, not all, but enough. You're brave, Mr. H., the boy said, stirring sugar into his latte. Someday, I want to be that. Michael's smile was genuine, a crack of light in the siege. Yet Evelyn loomed. Her latest missive a doozy. Eviction notice for endangering community welfare. Daniel slammed it down at dinner, fork clattering. She's destroying us. Michael reached across, fingers interlacing. No. She's exposing the rot. And we'll rebuild on solid ground. That night, they dreamed separately, Daniel of crumbling blueprints, Michael of green lights fading, but woke entwined, resolve renewed. The storm broke subtly, a phone call from an unfamiliar number. This is Inspector Hale from the city. Regarding your complaint. Daniel's grip whitened on the receiver. The pieces clicked. Evelyn's reign was unraveling. But as elation bloomed, a deeper fear rooted. Had the cost been too high? Inspector Hale's voice crackled through the line like static electricity, each word a spark igniting possibility. We've reviewed your documentation, Mr. Ruiz. It appears there's been irregularity with the HOA's representative. We'll need statements. Daniel's exhale was a gust, relief mingling with wariness. He glanced at Michael, mouthing it's happening, and for the first time in months, their kitchen felt less like a bunker, more like a war room with victory in sight. They met Hale the next day at a neutral diner off Pulaski Road. Formica tables scarred from decades of greasy spoons and guarded conversations. Hale was mid-40s, broad-shouldered with a mustache that screamed 80s cop drama, but his handshake was firm, ice kind. Over eggs and hash browns that neither touched, he laid it out. Evelyn Whitaker had been flashing a counterfeit badge, her inspections a rogue operation fueled by personal vendetta. She's not certified. Never was. We're pulling her in for questioning on fraud charges. Michael's pulse raced, a cocktail of vindication and vertigo. How long has this been going on? Hale shrugged, sipping black coffee. Long enough to ruffle feathers across 3 neighborhoods. You're not the first. Daniel leaned forward, blueprints of their lives unfurling in his mind. And the eviction? The fines? Hale nodded. Retractable. We'll expedite refunds. As they parted, Hale clapped Daniel's shoulder. Hang tough. Justice moves slow, But it moves. News spread through Oak Ridge like wildfire on dry tinder. By evening, Tom's porch light flickered on as Michael jogged past, the vet waving him over with a six-pack. Heard about Evelyn. Damn fool woman. His voice gravelly with regret. I should have spoken up sooner. Michael accepted a beer, condensation beating cold. Better late than never. Tom. They clinked bottles, the fence between them shrinking to pickets. But elation soured when Daniel's phone buzzed. A text from his boss. Investigation cleared, but optics bad. Taking a step back on projects. Leave extended indefinitely. Daniel stared at the screen, jaw set. They think I'm the liability. Michael pulled him into an embrace on the couch. Coltrane's saxophone weaving melancholy through the speakers. Their loss. We'll freelance. Build our own empire. Daniel's chuckle was hollow, but his arms tightened, anchoring them both. Evelyn's downfall unfolded in tabloid fashion. The local patch ran a blaring headline, HOA tyrant busted, fake badge, real fraud. Reporters swarmed the cul-de-sac, vans idling like predators. Michael watched from the window as Evelyn was led from her McMansion in cuffs, her bouffant wilting under flashbulbs, neighbors gawking from behind curtains. Karma's a clipboard, Daniel quipped, but his eyes held no glee, only the weary recognition of shared humanity's underbelly. The backlash hit Evelyn's allies hardest. Chet resigned from the board in a tearful email blast, apologizing profusely. Mrs. Hargrove baked lemon bars as peace offerings, left on their stoop with a note. Forgive an old fool? Michael shared them with Daniel over tea, the tartness cutting sweet. Swallow pride, spit out bitterness, he toasted. Daniel grinned, fangs of tension easing. Yet the victory rang hollow when Daniel's freelance pitches dried up. Too controversial, one client emailed. Isolation crept back. Subtler now, a fog of doubt. Nights, they'd lie awake, Michael's head on Daniel's chest, listening to the metronome of his heart. What if we leave? Michael whispered once, the words traitorous on his tongue. Daniel's fingers stilled in his hair. Run, and she wins. We stay. We redefine home. Michael poured resolve into his students. Jamie's coming out essay, penned for extra credit, was a gut punch of courage. Shadows to spotlight, owning my truth. He read it aloud in a faculty lounge. Voice steady, tears unshed. Colleagues clapped. Some awkward, others genuine, and Principal Ellis pulled him aside. Proud of you, Harper. And if you need backup against the world. The offer hung, a bridge over troubled waters. Spring thawed the literal and figurative ice, dogwoods blooming pink defiance along Oak Ridge lanes. Daniel relaunched his portfolio online, branding it Resilient Designs, structures born from adversity. A queer-owned cafe in Boys Town commissioned renovations, their first big win. See, Michael said, toasting with craft IPAs on their patio, the mural gleaming under string lights. Phoenix from the ashes. Daniel's kiss was fierce, reclaiming the space Evelyn had tainted. But betrayal's echo lingered in unexpected quarters. Lena called one humid afternoon, voice-edged. Evelyn's out on bail. Talking plea deals. But she's naming names, anyone who looked the other way. Daniel's face drained. Tom's was first on the list, then Hargrove's, ripples threatening to swamp the fragile peace. Collateral damage, Daniel muttered, pacing. Michael caught his wrist. Or wake-up call. Let it cleanse. The real gut-wrench was internal. Daniel confessed over a picnic in Washington Park. Sandwiches wilting in the heat. I blamed you sometimes. For wanting normalcy here. Michael's fork paused mid-air. Salad forgotten. And now, Daniel's eyes, dark pools of regret, met his. Now I see, normalcy's what we make. You were right to fight gentle. Forgiveness flowed easy. A river carving canyons. Their hands linking under the picnic blanket. Evelyn's trial loomed like summer thunder. Pre-trial hearings a circus of depositions. They testified side by side in a fluorescent-lit courthouse. Voices steady as they recounted the siege. Evelyn, across the aisle in a ill-fitting suit, glared daggers, but her bluster cracked when the judge, a stern woman with silver streaks, chided her for abuse of fabricated authority. As they exited, reporters thrust mics. How's it feel to take down a bully? Daniel deflected. Feels like justice catching up. Post-hearing. They drove the lakefront. Windows down. Wind whipping worries away. Michael cranked Springsteen. Thunder Road, blasting as they sang off-key. Hands intertwined over the gearshift. This is us, Daniel yelled over the guitar riff. Unstoppable. Michael's heart soared. The horizon a promise. Yet cracks spiderwebbed. Daniel's insomnia worsened. Shadows under his eyes like bruised plums. Michael found him at 3 a.m., sketching feverishly by lamplight, not homes, but labyrinths, mazes without exit. Can't sleep with the what-ifs, Daniel admitted, pencil snapping. Michael slid onto the desk chair, pulling him close. Then dream with me. No mazes, just open roads. They migrated to bed, bodies curving like parentheses, sleep claiming them in tandem. Jamie graduated that June, cap tassel swing a blur of pom-poms. At the ceremony, he hugged Michael fierce. Thanks for the light, Mr. H. Daniel, beside him in the bleachers, squeezed Michael's knee. You're changing lives. Pride swelled. But so did pressure, teaching burnout nipping at heels. Daniel's gigs sporadic. Evelyn's plea deal dropped mid-July. Probation. Restitution. Choe banishment. Oak Ridge exhaled. Block party invitations trickling in, this time. Genuine. They hosted one. Grill smoking ribs. Neighbors mingling under the mural's watchful stars. Tom raised a glass. To new chapters. Cheers rippled. Tentative but true. But in quiet aftermath, Daniel pulled Michael aside. I love you more for this fight. But I'm scared of complacency, of forgetting. Michael cupped his face, thumbs brushing stubble. Then remember with me. Every scar's a story. Their kiss under fireworks was renewal, sparks etching eternity. Summer waned, leaves hinting gold. Hale called, case closed. Refunds deposited. Closure, bittersweet. They framed the check, hung it beside the mural, a trophy of tenacity. Autumn's palette painted Oak Ridge in fire, but the embers of summer's trials still smoldered beneath. Daniel's designs gained traction. A profile in Windy City Times hailed, "Resilient architect redefines urban love." Clips of the mural went viral on TikTok. Teens recreating it with sidewalk chalk. Hashtags like Oak Ridge Rising trending local. Michael watched the notifications ping, a smile tugging. Our rebellion's got legs, he said, bumping Daniel's hip in the kitchen. Yet success bred scrutiny. An anonymous email hit Daniel's inbox. Enjoy the spotlight while it lasts. Some scars don't fade. Attached. Blurry photos from the potluck. Their kiss pixelated but unmistakable. Michael's stomach nodded. Evelyn. Daniel shook his head. Her style's louder. This is subtler ghost of grudges past. They forwarded it to Hale, who grumbled about loose ends, promising follow-up. The intrusion fractured trust in layers. Michael double-locked doors out of habit. Daniel's sketches now fortified with disclaimers. At school, whispers reached him, parents petitioning against activist teachers, veiled jabs at his testimony. Principal Ellis called him in, door ajar like an invitation to caution. Community's healing, Mike, but slow. Dial back the personal in class. Michael's nod was mechanical, the essay on Baldwin shelved, a quiet censorship that chafed. Daniel sensed the shift, their evenings laced with unspoken weights. Over pumpkin spice lattes at a Wicker Park cafe, fall leaves swirling outside, he broached it. You're pulling back. Don't. Michael stirred froth absently. Protecting the kids. Protecting us. Daniel's hand covered his. Us was built on bold. Don't let fear win the rewrite. The words landed soft, a nudge toward center stage. They recommitted with intention. Date nights at Hidden Gems, like the jazz club in Hyde Park where saxophones wailed like liberated souls. One foggy evening, swaying to Coltrane covers, Daniel whispered, "Marry me, not a ring, but a keychain fob etched with their mural star, promise in metal." Michael's yes drowned in applause, tears salting the moment. Word spread organically. Jamie, now college-bound at UIC, crashed their celebration dinner with homemade flan. Teachers get hitched? Iconic, he teased, clinking sodas. Tom's invite followed, awkward but earnest. If you're doing vows, I'd stand up. The guest list grew, Lena officiating, Hargrove baking cake, a tapestry of redemption. But betrayal's shadow lengthened. During vows planning, Daniel's ex, Alex, a sculptor from their art fair days, surfaced via DM. Heard about the drama. Need an ear. Innocent enough. But Michael's radar pinged. Alex had ghosted Daniel years back, leaving scars Daniel rarely unpacked. Old history, Daniel dismissed, but Michael glimpsed deleted texts, a pang of insecurity flaring. It peaked at a pre-wedding barbecue, Alex showing uninvited, bottle of mezcal in hand. Heard through the grapevine, he said, hugging Daniel too long. Michael's jaw tightened as they laughed over shared anecdotes, inside jokes from a life pre-him. Later, washing dishes, he confronted, what's he really want? Daniel sighed, sponge pausing. Closure, maybe, or nothing. Trust me. Michael's nod came slow, but the seed of doubt sprouted. Evelyn's ghost stirred anew. Bail conditions breached. She'd been spotted at a rival HOA meeting, clipboard in tow. Hale hauled her back. This time no plea, trial date set for December. Reporters circled again. One ambushing Michael post-school. Any mercy for the fraudster? He paused. Rain-slicked steps echoing. Mercy's earned. She chose cruelty. The question haunted. In bed, Daniel traced Michael's spine. Would you forgive her? Michael turned, eyes searching. If she owned it, maybe. But change starts inside. Daniel's kiss was affirmation, bodies aligning in wordless dialogue. Winter crept early, first snow dusting the mural like powdered sugar. Daniel's big break landed. Commission for a LGBTQ+ center in Logan Square. Designs weaving community threads. Our story in steel and glass, he enthused, spreading blueprints across the dining table. Michael pored over them, pride blooming. Beautiful. Like you. Jamie's dorm move-in loomed. Michael helped pack, taping boxes with advice. College is your mural, paint bold. Jamie hugged him, voice muffled. You showed me how, dropping him at UIC. Skyline piercing clouds. Michael's chest ached with empty nest echo, teacher's version. Alex's persistence irked. Flowers delivered to Daniel's office. For old times, Daniel returned them, but the gesture festered. One blustery night, after a tense call with contractors, Daniel snapped at Michael over dinner, trivial, about laundry, but laced with exhaustion. Always the peacemaker. Ever think I need fire? Michael recoiled, fork down. And you think I'm extinguishing it? Silence stretched, taut as wire, until Daniel crossed the table, kneeling. I'm sorry. Alex stirred old crap, abandonment fears. You're my constant. Tears mingled in makeup kisses, fracture mended with mortar. Trial day dawned gray, courthouse steps slick with slush. They testified again, voices honed. Evelyn, diminished in orange jumpsuit, avoided their gaze, her bluster deflated. The judge's gavel fell. 2 years. Fraud and harassment. As she shuffled out, her whisper carried, I thought I was protecting. Unfinished. A plea swallowed by echoes. Outside, snow swirled confetti-like. Daniel pulled Michael close. It's over, but Michael's eyes held nuance. For her, yes. For us, ongoing. They drove home to hot cocoa and vows rehearsal. Lena's laughter filling voids. Wedding week blurred. Suits tailored. Rings engraved with star motifs. Alex's final card arrived. Wishing joy, tossed unopened. Rehearsal dinner at Tom's. Ribs and stories flowing. Fences forgotten. Vows day. A crisp December morning. Botanic garden blanketed white. Guests bundled in scarves. Daniel, tucks sharp, eyes locked on Michael's approach, path lined with dogwoods bare but promising. Vows exchanged. In shadows and light. I choose you. Rings slid. Ceiling. Kiss under arch. Cheers erupting. Snowflakes dancing witness. Honeymoon whispers. Smoky Mountains cabin. Echoes of their first trip. But post-ceremony glow dimmed when Daniel's phone buzzed. Firm recall. But conditional. PR training required. Optics again. Michael's support masked his own simmer. School board murmurs about curriculum sensitivity. New Year dawned. Resolutions whispered. They adopted a rescue mutt. Luna, silver fur. Soulful eyes, patting their days with wags. Mornings. Walks through thawing parks. Leashes tangled like their lives. Messy. Beautiful. Yet doubts vine crept. Michael's tenure review loomed. Essays on inclusivity flagged. Daniel noticed withdrawal. Talk, he urged over pancakes. They want me neutral. Like before, Daniel's fork clattered. Neutral's death. Fight it with me. Alliance reaffirmed. Hands clasped. Spring equinox brought bloom. Daniel's center groundbreaking. Michael emceeing. Jaws dropped at his speech. Love builds. Doesn't divide. Applause thundered. Jamie in front row. Grinning. The climax brewed in shadows. Anonymous photos resurfaced, not old, new. Snaps of their wedding kiss, captioned Oakridge's shame. Sender traced to Evelyn's nephew, a disgruntled board holdover. Hale moved swift. Arrest at dawn. The arrest unfolded at dawn's pale light, red and blue strobes painting the nephew's lawn in accusatory hues. Michael and Daniel watched from their porch, coffees cooling untouched, as Hale cuffed the young man, mid-20s, sullen-faced, Evelyn's spite distilled. Digital harassment, Hale explained later over station coffee. Paperwork rustling. IP traces back to him. Ant's influence runs deep. Daniel's jaw tightened. Ends now? Hale nodded. Clean slate, relief washed, but residue lingered, like silt after flood. Daniel dove into the center project, overseeing pours of concrete that mirrored his resolve, foundations deep, unshakable. Michael, emboldened, submitted his tenure dossier unedited, Baldwin intact, personal woven in. Board approval came terse but affirmative, a nod to winds shifting. Luna's romps became ritual, her boundless energy a mirror to their healing. One golden afternoon in Grant Park, frisbee sailing, Daniel collapsed beside Michael on the grass, breathless. This us? Here. It's the dream I sketched first. Michael leaned in, blades tickling skin. And I'm the green light. Laughter bubbled, pure as fountain spray. Jamie's spring break visit brought youth's fire. Over deep dish at Lou Malnati's, he grilled, "Marriage glow suits you." But real talk, still haters. Daniel's shrug was lighter. Always. But louder allies now. Jamie's eyes sparkled. Like me. Starting a GSA at UIC, your fault. Pride swelled. Michael's hand finding Daniel's under the table. Evelyn's sentencing loomed final. Community service. Counseling mandated. A letter arrived via her lawyer, handwritten, shaky script. I was afraid of change, of losing control. Your strength shames me. Forgive. Michael read it aloud by lamplight, voice even. Daniel pondered. Human, after all. They burned it in the backyard fire pit, ashes swirling like released ghosts. Forgiven, Michael whispered to the stars. But not forgotten. Summer hummed revival. Daniel's center ribbon cut, walls echoing with laughter at opening gala, queer icons mingling with Oakridge converts. Tom's toast slurred sentimental. To bricks that bind. Michael danced with Daniel under disco ball rainbows, bodies sinking effortless, world fading to two. But undercurrent tugged. Michael's fatigue deepened, sleepless nights grating, days blurred. Daniel noticed first. You're fading. Love. Checkup revealed burnout. Doctor's orders. Sabbatical. Teach less. Live more. The note read. Michael resisted. Identity nodded in red pen. Daniel planned intervention. Weekend at the cabin. No tech. Just them. Smokies enveloped. Mist-cloaked peaks whispering ancient comforts. They hiked trails lined with rhododendron, hands brushing ferns. Atop Klingman's dome, panorama vast, Daniel knelt. Not proposal, but plea, step back. Let me carry a while. Tears stung Michael's eyes. Wind whipping. Feared losing myself. Daniel rose, embracing. You're found in me. Vows renewed impromptu. Echoes of wedding bells in birdsong. Return invigorated. Michael cut hours, volunteering at the center storytelling workshops for youth. Jamie guesting. Daniel's firm promoted him. Lead on inclusive builds. Synergy sparked joint venture. Affordable housing co-op. Queer-led. Blueprints blooming. Fall foliage framed progress. HOA elections. Progressive slate swept. Bylaws rewritten, no audits. Murals encouraged. Tom's campaign sign in their yard. Neighbors first. Victory party at Hargrove's. Punch spiked light. Toasts toasting tolerance. Yet climax crested subtle. Daniel's ex-Alex resurfaced. Not digital, but doorstep. Rain-soaked. Need to apologize. Properly. Daniel's stance barred entry. Pasts paved. Alex. Move on. Michael watched from hall. Tension coiling. Alex's eyes flicked pleading. I hurt you. Deserve to say sorry. Daniel softened fraction. Said. Now go. Door shut gentle, but aftershock quaked. Daniel confessed later. Vulnerability raw. He was my first fracture, taut walls. Michael pulled him close. Heartbeat duet. And I taught bridges. Lovemaking followed. Tender exploration, not conquest. Communion bodies narrating forgiveness. Winter solstice brought hush. Center's holiday fair buzzed. Michael's stories captivating kids under twinkling lights. Luna decked in antlers, chasing bows. Daniel gifted engraved compass. True north, us. Michael's return, journal. Pages filled with their saga. For the archives. New Year resolutions. Collective. Join therapy group for couples weathering storms. Sessions peeled layers. Laughter mingling tears. Betrayal's teacher, facilitator said. Daniel nodded. Ours was masterclass. Spring equinox redux. Co-op groundbreaking. Shovels biting earth symbolic. Press swarmed. Michael's soundbite. Homes not given groan. Daniel's arm around waist. Solidarity steel. But high tide of trial. Nephew's plea. Evelyn testifying against him, redemption arc falter. She called collect from lockup. Help me make it right. Daniel declined polite. But Michael's curiosity piqued. Visitation room sterile. Evelyn diminished. Why us? He asked. Her voice cracked. You embodied what I feared, joy without apology. Jealousy wore my mask. Michael's exhale bridged. Unmask daily. Start now. She nodded. Tears carving channels. Release on parole. Evelyn's first act. Public apology at Center Forum. Voice trembling. I wronged. Learn from it. Applause sparse but sincere. Daniel's hand in Michael's. Humanity wins. Summer solstice. Anniversary trip. Road tripping Route 66 echoes. Diners. Motels. Stars uncountable. The Cadillac Ranch. Spray painting hearts on rusted relics. Daniel proposed evolution. Adopt. Michael's yes sealed. Family expanding. Fall harvest. Jamie's internship at Center. Full circle. Tom's health scare, they rallied. Meals delivered. Vet's gruff thanks. Family. Ha! Winter's grip. Co-op units leasing. First tenants, young couple. Mirrors of them. Evelyn's volunteer shift at fair. Tentative hellos exchanged. Climax's echo. Anonymous donor to co-op, Evelyn. Modest sum. Note. Bricks for bridges. Daniel framed it. Beside check. Solstice lights twinkled as the year turned. But the true illumination came in quiet increments. The way Daniel's sketches now included playrooms. Michael's stories wove family threads. Adoption papers filed. Home study, a gentle inquisition revealing depths. Resilient. Ready. Social workers nod. You've built more than walls. Jamie's holiday visit overflowed with tales. GSA thriving. First boyfriend shy but sweet. Overlax at Lena's. He grilled adoption plans. Names? Themes? Michael laughed. Open book. Daniel added. Like us, chosen. Evelyn's path crossed tangentially. Probation reports glowing. Counseling yielding candor. A center workshop invite accepted. Her voice sharing, from enforcer to ally. Skeptics murmured. But Michael's front row seat affirmed. Change. Incremental. Winter deepened. Snow sculpting Oak Ridge anew. Daniel's firm expanded. Inclusive wing under his lead. Michael's sabbatical bloomed into book proposal, defiant narratives, essays from siege to serenity. Agents bite, timely. Tender. Spring thaw, court finality, Evelyn paroled full, restrictions lifted. No fanfare, but Tom's Diner coffee invite included her. Awkward trio thawed over omelets. Water under, she said. Eyes down. Daniel's bridge over met with tentative smiles. Adoption match. 5-year-old Theo. Wide-eyed with curls. Foster shuffle weary. First meet at park. Swings creaking tentative. Theo's grip on Daniel's finger. Trust's first thread. Michael's storybook reading. The Giving Tree. Sealed spark. Homecoming parade. Luna sniffing curiously. Theo giggling bubbles. Summer swelter. Co-op thriving. Block parties inclusive. Rainbow flags fluttering beside American. Evelyn's potluck pie. Apple. Humble. Tastes mingled sweet tart. Like amends. Fall frenzy. Book deal inked. Theo's kindergarten jitters. Michael's drop-off tears mask joy. Daniel's arm steady. Our green lights got pigtails now, he quipped. Jamie's graduation. UIC stage. Cap airborne. Speech nod. To Michael's and Daniel's, teachers of heart. Tears collective. Hugs bruising. Winter wonder. Book launch at center. Shelves groaning queer lit. Evelyn in back row. Buying copy signed. To new chapters. Michael's pen paused. Then flowed. Grace and growth. Climaxes denouement. Anonymous threat source. Evelyn's nephew. Sentenced light. Therapy ordered. Family rift mended fractious. But cycle broken. Anniversary eve. Cabin redux. Theo bundled with grandparents. Fireplace crackle. Wine warming palms. Daniel's toast. From fraud to family. Are epic. Michael's. Loves the real inspector. Uncovering truths. Dawn hike. Peaks gilded. Theo's echo from years past. No future's call. Below. Chicago sprawled. Lights winking welcome. Back home. Routine sacred. Bedtime stories. Theo's queries endless. Daddy Dan. Why stars? Daniel's fable. Connections. Like us. Michael's ad. And they fight darkness with light. Evelyn's holiday card. Hand-drawn bridge. Response. Invite accepted. Table set extra. New Year. Resolutions communal. Theo's. More adventures. Laughter sealed. Yet depth plumbed in stillness. One midnight. Theo feverish. Michael's vigil. Daniel's compresses. Dawn break. Small hand in theirs. Bond's quiet thunder. Spring bloom. Book tour bites. Midwest whispers of their tale. Theo's backpack swing. Schoolyard conquests. Summer solstice. Beach trip. Waves lapping Theo's toes. Daniel's sandcastles epic. Michael's photo, trio silhouetted, eternal. Fall harvest, co-op expansion. Theo's mural, child's hand. Vines linking figures. Evelyn's volunteer brush, steady. Winter's hush, holiday lights. Theo's awe. Michael's book sequel, Roots and Rainbows. Climax resolved. No grand storm, but harmonies crescendo. Threats silenced, bridges arched. Betrayal's legacy, scar, not shackle. Tended, teaches. Ketuk Nan Van. In Oakridge's heart, once fractured, now whole, love's quiet revolution. Michael and Daniel, hands entwined across breakfast chaos. Theo's laughter the soundtrack. Evelyn passes, wave tentative, returned warm. Tom toasts at diner. To belonging, stars above witness. Humanity, woven fragile, endures. Years fold, Theo's teens. Jamie's wedding, centers legacy. Daniel's designs span cities. Michael's words inspire. Betrayal's blur to backstory. Forgiveness the frame. Final dusk. Porch swing creak. Theo off to prom, rainbow boutonniere. Love you, dads. Door shuts soft. Daniel's head on Michael's shoulder. Worth every fight. Michael's kiss. Every scar. Fade to stars, connections infinite.